Are you tired of having to deal with raggedy old towns like Splatsville? Well, come over to Yggdrasil Square. New and improved with a fantastic design. Everything is absolutely perfect here. You can leave all that chaos behind and come to the city of order all redefined. What's that? You don't want to come? Oh, darling. You don't have a choice! So another Splatoon 3 side order trailer released a few weeks ago, and in typical Splatoon fashion, the trailer showed us so much while showing us virtually nothing at the same time. We got to see the futuristic aesthetic with some textures missing from the world around us. We got to see our favorite 5-head Pearl controlling an adorable drone, and we even got to see the artist behind the Octo expansion's music, Deadfish. But we didn't get to see who would be the big bad villain, the reason for digitizing Yggdrasil Square, and what their endgame entails. So based on a grand total of 2 minutes and 39 seconds of footage, I'm gonna try and guess what's going on here and who's behind this whole thing. Let's jump right into it. So let's get this out of the way first. Where the heck is our favorite little octoling Marina? I've seen some people in the community think that she will be the main villain, and I'm just gonna rip this band-aid off now. No, she won't be. This woman is too pure to be up to no good. In the lead up to Splatoon 2, there were Squid Sisters stories hinting that something might happen to Callie as she and Marie began to see each other less, with them doing more solo shows and gigs. But in Splatoon 3, we haven't seen a similar story happen with Pearl and Marina. In fact, in Sunken Scroll 22 of the Return of the Mammalians campaign, we see those two together having a blast on stage. In this, they were the vocalists for the Damp Socks band, and their music plays in the rage-inducing Rainmaker games we compete in every day. The pivotal reason that Marina was on Team Order was to be with Pearl and protect the balance in her life. Neither ended up being disrupted after Chaos won though, so there shouldn't have been any hostile intent festering within Marina after the final Splatfest. So, she accepted Pearl's desire to branch out into other genres and embrace the chaos. But that doesn't mean she had to completely turn her back on her orderly desires, and as a result, she probably developed the world of Side Order as a side hobby. This is the same person who developed 24 Shifty Stations after all. In the levels, you can even see what looks like part of an Octarian tentacle, an item that has the same color scheme as the Octarians, and the same thing Marina loved annoying us with when announcing the stages in Splatoon 2. The rest of it, like the Tower of Pancakes and the Tower of Cards, is probably meant to go with this Tower of Order that we're in. The Prior did remind me of a certain Splatfest that took place while Marina was around though. So maybe all of these are meant to represent Marina's memories either for aesthetic or plot-related reasons. The outside of the Spire of Order is either something completely digital, or, if it is the real square, it could have been partially merged with this virtual world. That might be why parts of the tower are jetting outward into the square, but for someone with so much precedence in this world, we don't see her at all. This is probably because someone else trapped her within this digital realm and are using it themselves to further their goals. After Agent 8 and Pearl climb up to that final level, they'll likely confront whoever that is to save Marina. Marina likely has left hints for you to discover through the same color chips used to power up Pearl's drone, and the more you collect, the more you'll find out about the final boss. The drone could have been invented by Marina too, as the infinity symbol on the top left of the Pearl palette is very similar to the shape of Marina's eyes and zipper. Now with Marina debunked, another character that has raised some eyebrows was Oct, aka Deadfish. This was the first time we got to see them in 3D, and they seem to be our guide throughout this campaign. It would be a little more interesting to see them as a villain. The thing on their hat is the exact same thing we see at the end of the trailer, but I don't think it'll be them either. It's more likely than Marina, but I still don't think it'll happen. Now granted, I've only seen like 3 of Deadfish's lines, so I could be wrong, but they seem to be more laid back and straight to the point, unless, oh my god, dude, what's poppin' in this wiggity wiggy whack world? You looking pretty hip there, yo. Am I beating the villain accusations yet? That just makes them seem like they're genuinely trying to help you. In Deadfish's case, they probably were sucked into this world before Agent 8 and are working undercover for the main villain. That might be why they seem to know how to navigate the Spire of Order. But they're probably doing this just so they can gain more intel about the place and ultimately bring in the right people, you, to stop the main villain from carrying out their plan. Like, if they were the villain, why would they actively give you things to make you stronger and proceed to the final area? It's not like Tartar where the mem cakes you receive merely act as an incentive to see the surface. The CQ points grant you access to the other levels and minor rewards for the multiplayer, and the things are used to later blend you up like a fruit smoothie. None of these things make you stronger and instead lure you further into his trap and make Tartar stronger. Also, Deadfish really doesn't have a reason to be malicious as they just want to make music. They even partially wanted themselves to be sanitized so they could shed all doubts about themselves and pump out their best songs. Oct was probably just an octoling who had truthfully heard of Marina due to her high-ranking in Octarian society, and later met and got acquainted with her due to them both enjoying music. Before she and Pearl started off the hook, Marina was already a talented singer, as you can hear in this Ebb and Flow demo Marina showed Pearl when they first met. So Oct probably genuinely wants to save Marina as well, remembering her with whatever recollections of their past life they have after being sanitized. Even if most of their memories have been wiped, they should still remember Marina, since she is linked to the core part of Deadfish's personality. So we've got an idea of who couldn't be the villain, but we still have the core question of this video left. Who could be the villain of Side Order? Now, after doing a lot of digging, I've come up with two possibilities for the villain of Side Order. Either it's a new enemy that we haven't seen before, or it's a certain familiar face from a previous campaign. Now, for the first possibility, I scoured the community for ideas, and there were two interesting ideas that kept coming up. First up, there was Tony Kensa. Like with Oct and the icon on their hat, the colors of Tony Kensa very closely match the colors in Side Order: black, white, and red. One thing that supports this theory is that the lead designer and creative director, who I'm assuming is, well, Tony Kensa, left the position, making room for someone else. That is something interesting to mention, so it'd be a twist if he shows up as the villain. And the second person I saw was Glenn Fiddler. I don't know how much backstory even is behind this guy, and I don't care to look it up either. That's just because I love how whenever there's even a slight amount of Discord in the Splatoon universe, a good 8 people online are always like, Glenn Fiddler! But the tricky thing with trying to pin being the villain on a new character entirely, such as these two, is that it's hard to see an evidential motive to do something like this. In Tony Kensa's case, he just seems like a trend-setting fashion designer, and I don't know what a fashion designer will want with a digital world created by Marina. And again, for this bleach crap, what is he gonna do? Pinch Marina's leg off? What is he gonna do? So when looking for a character with a motive behind taking Marina captive, and the intelligence to even stand the chance of outsmarting her in the first place, I've come down to one character: Commander Tartar. Now, I know that I've proclaimed Tartar sleeping with the fishes in at least 2 previous theories, and part of me still does believe that, but that's just it. I believe it, but I don't know it. Unlike Octavio and Mr. Grizz, who blew up in an explosion, Tartar just kinda fizzled away. And heck, even when those two did blow up, they were seen alive and well 5 minutes later. Also, Octavio has shown himself as willing to work with Inklings for the greater good, as shown at the end of Splatoon 3 story mode, and Mr. Grizz openly admitted that he was mistaken in his ways, but Tartar never had that same change of heart. So if Tartar in some way survived the final fight in the Octo expansion, whether it be not completely malfunctioning or being backed up to another computer, then I definitely believe he'll make a return in Side Order. He's one of the characters who has seen Marina's technological capabilities up close, for she's 1/3 of the reason behind his defeat with her hyper bombs. The other 2/3 were Agent 8 actually detonating them, and then Pearl loudly screaming at Tartar. Plus, Tartar's the only character that seems to have some level of technological prowess that's comparable to Marina's. So it'd be most likely that he could hack into an unsuspecting Marina's virtual reality and use it to further his own goals. If Oct's statement is meant to be taken in a more literal way, then that means that the end goal is to suck everyone and everything into this digital realm and force them to follow the way of life Tartar believes they should. So far, there doesn't seem like a way out of this world other than the home button on your controller, so it's not like they have much choice. If he can't destroy them and start from scratch with his sanitized dudes, then he can control them in this digital Inkopolis. And if he were to return, we possibly see how he and Oct interact with each other and learn more about sanitization and about Oct's vague past. Lastly, there are a couple other tack-ons that I feel support my Tartar theory. First, in a translated Japanese Splatoon 2 interview, it brought up how Judd and Tartar were both created by the professor with the same immortal life. This was actually something I didn't know until I was researching for this theory. That's one of the main reasons I decided to give Tartar a second look when making this. I don't know how effective that immortality is against a 100 decibel scream, but if the answer is at least a little, then Tartar might still be around and kicking. This is just a random spitball, but maybe that immortality could be used as a story element that the replayability of Side Order Nintendo spoke about stems from. Since Tartar will never die, you can fight him over and over again. Next, he was on Team Order for the final Splatfest, and it states how if Chaos sets the tone for the world, see Splatsville, then who decides what Order looks like? These two, Commander Tartar and Sea Cucumber, likely have their own opinions on that subject, and they probably don't include the words free or will. And lastly, has anyone noticed, like, the ceiling on one of these first rooms? Like, I don't think it's just straight up sanitized dudes, but like, there has to be some kind of connection, right? So overall, I believe that Tartar will show up again as the enemy of Side Order. While having a repeat villain may be underwhelming, Tartar's capability to hack into and corrupt Marina's world, his interesting, already established connections to all of the characters currently shown in the campaign, and his possible motives set him up to be a really interesting villain to not only tie up the loose ends of the Octo expansion and its lore, but to push the lore of Splatoon 3 even further. I don't think the jellyfish researching the Nile statue helped us discover anything, so we can discover things now instead. Or Tartar actually did die, I was right all along, and the villain of Side Order will be someone new like Tony Kent's or a Glenn Krusty Krab Fiddler. But hey, that theory is but a splat theory. Who do you think will be the villain of Side Order? Let me know in the comments, and remember to leave a like and subscribe to AlpStar716 for more content on Splatoon 3 and other things gaming. Also comment other things you want me to theorize about. I forgot how much I enjoyed making these. I'll see you all next time.